Hey guys, in this MasterThatGear video I'm going to be looking at one of the kind of often neglected parts of people's gear chain, and that's picks. And we're going to be looking at gravity picks, these guys right here. Now I was lucky enough to be sent a bunch of them for review, but I always feel with kind of pick reviews it's a really subjective topic. It really comes down to people's hand shapes, the way they play, all that sort of stuff. So I'm not going to kind of show you a pick and then play ridiculous picking runs and go, oh, this is an amazing pick, go and get it. What I'll do is I'll talk about the various types I've got and the options and things you can get with the picks, and then just generally my thoughts on the pick material and how they feel. And that's really subjective to me, but it may be useful to you, I suppose. So let's get started. So here we have the range of picks that I've got to talk about here. Along the top here we've got the classic shape from Gravity picks. Now all these picks are made from cast acrylic, which is obviously a type of plastic, type of acrylic resin if you want. And cast acrylic is quite a good material because it allows you to get quite a nice clear buffed up finish on it. Basically they're made from cast acrylic, laser engraved, and then hand cut and buffed into shape, which kind of, I imagine, puts up the price a little bit. Because I imagine buying acrylic isn't, it's not a ridiculously expensive material, but it's the kind of work and finish that goes into it that puts the price up a little bit. But this here is this is yellow kind of finish on a classic pick. And this is a 3mm pick here, standard size. It's a little bit smaller than what would be the traditional standard size pick. If I pull out an old Ultex pick here, you can see that it's a little bit kind of smaller and comes to the tip just a little bit differently as well. So it's a little bit shorter length, which gets you, personally for me, that the way I hold a pick, it means it's not excess kind of pick here. I mean, I used to play these for a very long time, but the way I hold the pick, there'd be all this kind of plastic here that would just kind of be in the way, I suppose. If I compare it to a Jazz 3, it's a little bit bigger than a Jazz 3, but you can see it's similar in the sense, the approach to the tip there. This is not as much, a little bit extra kind of bits in the shoulder here, or whatever you want to call that. So it's quite a comfortable kind of size, this classic shape. A little bit smaller than kind of standard kind of pick. The options thickness wise, there's a 3mm there, there's a 2mm. You can have a 1.1mm, or there's a 0.75 of a mil there, which is these kind of ones here. For me personally, it's a little bit too thin. With acrylic, I would wonder if that would snap or break if I was playing it. But some players do prefer a kind of nice thin pick like that for maybe recording acoustic or something. Gets you a more kind of textured effect if you're playing acoustic. But personally, for the way I play, I like to move the string with the pick rather than the string moving the pick, if that makes sense. Now here we have an orange classic size one. It's a little bit more of a kind of a fluorescent orange, which is quite cool, nice and kind of 80s. And then that size, I forgot to say, that's a mini. So you can see how it compares to, pick this one up here, because of the standard size. So it's ever so slightly smaller, not a huge amount, just ever so slightly smaller. That's, if I compare it to the Jazz 3 again, you can see it's getting more close to that kind of size. So it's maybe for players who are more familiar with that kind of smaller pick. I played the Jazz 3 for quite a while, but I found I just needed a little bit more size to the pick for kind of funky strumming and things like that. Very, very good for precise picking and things, but I just needed a slightly bigger size than that. So the minis for me are just a little bit too small, but that's a little orange mini 1.1mm. And then this one here is the smallest pick I've got here. That's a 0.75mm, and it's a mini as well, so that's really kind of small. So that is not really for me. And the other side here I've got the XL size. So to me that's getting more into your traditional size. If I kind of a pick. If I compare that again to the size of the standard Ultex one, you can see it's similar, just a little bit more flat on the top and wider at the sides here, which is handy, I suppose, if you've got a traditional grip of the pick like that, and your thumb can cover over the top. But for me, that's too, for playing the size of picks I use now, that feels massive, that kind of pick. So that's the kind of the classic size there. And down the bottom here, I've got all the different kind of ranges we have. The first three here are the striker shape. Now the striker shape, if I pick up this kind of standard size one, it's kind of a 3-point pick. So, you know, you can use that side, that side, that side, that type of thing. It's quite comfortable under the finger, but I just found the kind of tips of it just a little bit too rounded, I suppose. I mean, it's not perfectly symmetrical, because I feel that this, they're a little bit sharper than that there, but you could rotate it around if you wanted. That's a 2mm in blue. They may have a little striker mini, you know. Again, it's 1.1mm. It's quite nice size-wise. If I compare it again to a Jazz 3, you can see that it's kind of a lot shorter than the Jazz 3 there. So that might feel, for some, just a little bit too stubby, you know, this way, you know, for playing. And then we have a Striker XL. Now this is almost like a bass pick to me. It reminds me of an old Pavey bass pick. I mean, that's a fair size. It's 1.5mm thick, but it just feels massive. I mean, that's it compared to a standard pick there. You know, so, you know, some people like to play kind of big picks like that. Yeah, it's not for me really. Now here we have 3 picks. Of all the picks that were sent, these are the 3 that I kind of played about with. The first one is the Razer. I've got a Razer Mini here. Now that is quite a small pick, but it's got a really sharp point. Plus it's in this really cool kind of neon green, which is quite a cool colour. 1.5mm. Now compared to a Jazz 3, you can see that it comes to a sharp point quite dramatically. It's about the same size as a Jazz 3, but with a sharper point. Now that's quite nice, I suppose, if you're playing kind of the bass strings. That's a little bit more cut in the bass strings. But I found it a little bit awkward for my style of playing, for a little bit sweeping and fast strumming again. It was just a little bit, I just felt it caught in the strings a bit, but it all depends what you play, but that's really, really good for kind of precise kind of picking. But these two are the ones that actually I felt more comfortable with. This is the wave finish on, and it kind of looks a little bit, this is a slightly different shape from the, slightly smaller shape from the classic there. It has this cool kind of laser engraved wave kind of pattern on it. But that felt quite nice. Thickness wise, it looks as if it's about a 3mm in blue. And that felt quite nice, so I was playing a bit with that one for a while. I mean, I've had these picks for about a month, but I've not kind of played these ones as much. The one I have played the most, and I've gigged it and been using it constantly since I got it, just to kind of road test it, I suppose, is this one, which is the edge shape. Now, it's quite similar to the Striker, but it comes to a sharp point. I mean, I've got quite a wee bit of wear on there now, but you can see it's kind of beveled at the edges, and it came to basically quite a nice sharp point. So you've got this kind of size of the pick that fits quite nice under the fingers, but with a sharp point you get that articulation I quite like. Because when I'm picking a string, I quite like I don't like a rounded edge too much. I like to have a little bit of kind of bite there for digging in and things. So this is the one I've been kind of using the most. I mean, if I compare it to standard size pick again, you can see it's shorter, but it comes to kind of sharper point, a little bit wider at the top. And if I compare it to, you know, a Jazz 3, it's got the kind of almost slightly shorter than the Jazz 3, but it has that width at the top, which makes it a bit more comfortable for kind of fast, funky strumming. I think sometimes with X, you don't have enough width when you're holding it, and it feels kind of wee in your fingers. But I think this extra width at the top just feels a little bit comfortable. So that's the kind of the range there. So I've got the Wave pick in blue here. As I said, this is one of the two I've been kind of playing about with. It's about 3 mils thick, but it's got quite a kind of standard rounded kind of tip to it, unlike the edge. Now what puts a lot of people off with acrylic picks is the kind of chirp that you get, especially if you're on the bridge pickup, because it'll pick up those higher kind of frequencies. You know, at the start of every note, you get that kind of high pitch kind of chirp. And it can depend on how you hold the pick. I hold the pick in a kind of backward way compared to the standard kind of way like that. Even if you were holding it like that, you get that kind of chirp there. Now some people can live with that, some people can't. Some people like it, you know, and part of the sound. For me, because it's slightly rounded, I think that's a little bit too much chirp for me. I don't mind a chirp, but I think because of it's not coming to a sharper tip, you're getting more of the kind of rounded kind of acrylic kind of chirp in there. So it's a really nice kind of size and feels really comfortable under the kind of fingers, that pick. But the edge is the one I've been kind of using. As I said, I've been gigging this and playing it about. And the wear on it is, I mean, there is wear there, but it's not too bad considering. Another thing I like in a pick is something that's durable. I mean, that's the Red Bear that I've been playing for about a year and a half until I switched to this, just for, you know, to try it out, road test it for this demo. You know, but as I said, the shape of this is very comfortable under the fingers. And because it came to a sharp tip, I just felt I had a little bit more, there's a little more bite there. So I can feel it. I mean, I've worn this down as well, which is a factor. I don't know if the guys at Gravity Picks would do picks that are grinded or ground down at the top, so there's a little bit more kind of scratchy kind of resistance. I quite like that kind of sound. Some people don't, but I quite like that, you know. You know, I've worn that down a bit, but there's definitely there's still a chirp there, but you've got that percussive kind of, not percussive, kind of scratchy kind of sound as well. Also nice, feels like I can dig in a little bit better for kind of pinch harmonics and things. It's also quite nice for economy picking. Some people prefer the rounder tips maybe for that because it glides over the strings a little bit easier. Because of the way I hold the pick, some things are a little bit more comfortable for me economy picking wise, and really doesn't really matter in the pick, to be honest. Some things, like as I said, the Razer felt like caught just a little bit because of the way I hold the pick. This just felt very nice for the way I hold the pick. And even as I said, with this kind of grinding at the top, wearing down a little bit, you get a nice, you get that nice kind of sound at the start there, especially in the wound strings. You know, now I haven't really done many pick scrapes on it. Don't do many pick scrapes anymore, but I would imagine that would chip up quite easy. That's the other thing about acrylic. It is a nice sturdy material, but it will probably, you know, wouldn't survive many kind of pick scrapes. The other thing I found with this shape is because it's 3-pronged. One, the tip is obviously the sharp bit that you want to kind of use, gives you that attack. But I found myself using the others, you know, the way I'm holding the pick. Sometimes I'll be playing and I'll be using one of these less rounded corners just because I've twisted the pick round and not noticed. I suppose that's nice to have that option there, but it's the other thing with the shape that I found. I have to be wary of making sure I've always got the tip pointing towards the kind of string. So I mean, I'm still using this. I'm actually really enjoying using this edge pick. I've still got my Red Bears there as well. And sometimes I think players, you feel as if, oh, if I get this new pick, I'll be able to, you know, play amazing alternate picking, all that type of thing. A lot of it comes down to just practicing with whatever pick you've got. You don't want to use something that obviously feels totally awkward and is hindering you in some way, but most players will, you know, be given a pick and then within whatever minutes of playing be able to adapt. I found, you know, comparing this to other picks I've used in the past, it looks great, it feels great, it kind of sounds great. So, you know, that's all that matters really. Other picks have felt the same as well, but I think I'll continue to use this and just see how it goes, see how it really lasts for, as I said, I've been playing it for a month, so we'll see how it lasts for 2 months, 3 months, and so on. But be sure to check out Gravity Picks. You know, I've got the website logo up on the screen at the moment, and just have a poke around. As I said, there's quite a lot of options. You've got the classic shape, the striker shape, the Razer shape. There's the edge, this one here, the wave shape as well. You can get them in standard size, you know, that's a standard edge. You can get them in mini size if you want that kind of smaller jazz 3 kind of feel to the pick. And you get XL sizes if you've got massive hands or play bass or just really like to have a big pick in your hands. Colour wise, I quite like the kind of neon green, so I'm thinking of ordering an edge in neon green just for the 80s Steve Vai fan in me. You can get smoke coloured as well, red, that's the yellow. You've got blue, there's a kind of fluorescent orange as well, and red. So there's quite an option of colours there too. But you know, if you're interested, you know, be sure to check them out, see how they go.